Mexico has ghost towns, but not just any ghost towns. One town sank beneath a lake, another was swallowed by fire and rock, one was cut off from the world by a bridge that now leads nowhere, and another, it goes away and keeps coming back. But the strangest of them all, it was one company's way of saying, "Welcome to the Mysteries of Latin America. My name is Andrew, and I tell the stories of the myths, legends, history, and mysteries everywhere from northern Mexico to southern Argentina and all across the Caribbean." And before we get into these wild ghost stories, I have to give a huge shout out and thank you to my wife, Gabby, who not only suggested this topic, but put all the information right there in front of me. Honestly, everyone needs a little Gabby in their lives. Now, if you love stories like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and let's get to it. And first up, San Juan Parangaricutiro, the volcano that ate a town. It's 1943. A farmer in the town of San Juan Parangaricutiro, in the state of Michoacán, sees smoke in his field. Normal, right? Well, not when the ground starts splitting apart and hissing like a snake. He runs, grabs his wife, and they escape for their lives. And then the neighbors and everyone else in town do the same. Hours later, fire shoots out of the earth. By morning, a new mountain is growing. One of the only volcanoes in history to form in real time. At first, it's just ash, then lava, then total destruction. The town fights, prays, flees, but nothing stops the volcano. In months, the town of San Juan Parangaricutiro is gone. The only thing left? A single church steeple sticking out of a black sea of lava. By the time the eruption ended in 1952, 9 years later, the volcano had grown to 1,391 feet, 424 meters high, and covered 100 square kilometers, almost 40 square miles, in lava. Incredibly, no one died, but the townspeople lost everything and had to rebuild elsewhere. Some say the volcano wasn't random, that God did it. The town was torn apart by greed and land disputes, so divine reset. Visitors that go hiking near the ruins at night report strange echoing sounds. Some say it's muffled voices, like people praying or crying out for help beneath the hardened lava. Others hear a deep, low hum, almost like chanting. A few even claim to hear church bells ringing, except there's no bell tower left standing. Locals say it's the spirits of the townspeople forever trapped beneath the lava, reliving their final moments. Today, you can hike the volcano, stand on its rocky slopes, and walk through the ruins of the church. Well, what's sticking out of the lava? But if you visit at night, just be warned. Some people hear things that aren't supposed to be there. Number 2, Real de Catorce, the town that refused to die. Real de Catorce in the state of San Luis Potosí was one of Mexico's richest silver mining towns. But Real de Catorce was only the town's nickname. Its full name is Real de Minas de Nuestra Señora de la Purísima Concepción de los Álamos de Catorce, or the Royal Mines of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception of the Alamos of Catorce, in reference to the trees and mountains. And it reflects the reverence and opulence tied to its founding when Mexico was New Spain. At its peak in the late 18th and 19th centuries, it was home to 40,000 people, producing so much silver that shipments required armed convoys to protect them from bandits. But like all good things, by the early 1900s, the silver ran out. The miners left, businesses shut down, and by 1920, Real de Catorce was nearly abandoned. However, something strange happened. Unlike most ghost towns, Real de Catorce wouldn't stay forgotten. Despite being nearly deserted, Real de Catorce is now a magnet for supernatural activity. Visitors claim to hear phantom pickaxes clinking in abandoned mine shafts. And at night, some swear they see shadowy figures carrying lanterns down the cobblestone streets. And then there's the phantom procession. Locals say that on certain nights, a line of ghostly figures dressed in old miners' clothes and carrying candles marches through town, heading toward the church. Some say these are the spirits of miners who died deep in the tunnels, still seeking their final rest. Today, Real de Catorce has made a comeback, attracting spiritual seekers, filmmakers, and ghost hunters, because many say the ghosts of its past still walk among the living. And now we're up to number 3, Guerrero Viejo, the town that wouldn't stay dead. Guerrero Viejo was founded in 1750 on what you know as the Rio Grande, but we here in Mexico know as the Rio Bravo in Tamaulipas. And it was an important colonial trading town along that river. For centuries, it was a thriving settlement with beautiful stone architecture, a grand central plaza, and the Nuestra Señora del Refugio, Our Lady of Refuge Church. But in 1953, everything changed. Mexico and the U.S. built the Falcon Dam along the border, creating a reservoir to provide a stable water supply. The downside? It would flood the entire town of Guerrero Viejo. Residents were forced to evacuate, leaving behind homes, shops, and even a massive stone church. As the water levels rose, Guerrero Viejo vanished beneath the waves. The cost of progress. But Guerrero Viejo is different from other ghost towns. It keeps coming back. During droughts, when water levels drop, the entire town reemerges from the lake. Visitors have walked through half-submerged streets, exploring crumbling buildings that should not exist. But it's not just ruins that return. The locals report eerie phenomena that comes back. Fishermen say they hear church bells ringing from beneath the water. Others have seen figures standing along the shore at dusk, figures that disappear when approached. Some believe these are the spirits of those who never wanted to leave. The town may be underwater, but something still lingers. And now we're at number 4, Ojuela, the bridge to nowhere. Ojuela was one of the most dangerous mining towns in Mexico. Founded in 1598, its gold and silver veins ran deep into the mountains of the state of Durango. To connect the miners to their work, engineers built the Puente de Ojuela, a massive suspension bridge 318 meters long and 109 meters above a deep canyon. For decades, workers crossed the terrifying bridge daily to extract tons of silver and gold. But in the early 1900s, torrential rains flooded the mines, and within weeks, the town was abandoned. Today, only the bridge remains, a silent witness to centuries of toil and tragedy. Many visitors report seeing a miner walking across the bridge at sunset, carrying a lantern. They describe his ragged clothing, old-fashioned boots, and empty eyes. But when they follow him, he disappears halfway across the bridge. Some even hear clangs from the empty mine shafts below, as if workers are still there, but no one is. Locals say a ghost miner was trapped in a tunnel collapse and never left. And some believe crossing the bridge alone at night invites bad luck. It's time for number 5, Tequesquitengo, the drowned town. San Juan Tequesquitengo, and believe me, I had to practice that a few times, was a peaceful farming village in the state of Morelos, Mexico. But in the 1800s, something strange happened. The town's lake began to rise. In the mid-19th century, irrigation projects aimed to improve farming in the region. Water from nearby rivers was diverted to the lake, which steadily rose until it began flooding the town. By 1865, the town was completely underwater. Some believe it was a natural disaster, Others say it was deliberately flooded by a wealthy landowner who wanted to expand his property, and the town was collateral damage. Today, divers exploring the lake find submerged ruins, walls, staircases, even remnants of homes. But the real fear? The ghost bride. Legends say a woman drowned on her wedding day as the town was flooding. Now she wanders the shore, dressed in white, looking for her lost husband. Fishermen report hearing sobbing near the water's edge. And on some nights, a pale hand reaches up from the lake. So they say. And now it's time for our bonus story. The story of the Cerro de San Pedro, the town that blew itself up. Cerro de San Pedro was one of Mexico's oldest and most important mining towns. Gold and silver were discovered there as early as 1592, attracting Spanish colonizers who saw the region as a treasure chest beneath the mountains. For over 350 years, the mines of Cerro de San Pedro poured wealth into the coffers of Spain and later an independent Mexico. But like all mining towns, its prosperity came at a price. Dangerous working conditions, exploitive labor, and cycles of boom and bust. By the early 1900s, the town was already struggling, as its once rich mines had been nearly depleted. Yet, foreign-owned mining companies remained, hoping to extract the last ounces of gold and silver. One of them was the American Smelting and Refining Company, ASARCO, which controlled most of the region's remaining resources. But by 1948, the workers had had enough. The miners, tired of low wages, inhumane working conditions, and foreign control of their land, staged a massive strike. They demanded better pay and safety measures, threatening to shut down the operation if ASARCO refused. The company's response? Destroy everything. Rather than meeting the demands of the workers, ASARCO dynamited the tunnels. Not just shut them down, they collapsed every single mine shaft, ensuring that no one could ever profit from the region again. In a single day, centuries of mining came to an abrupt and violent end. Without the mines, Cerro de San Pedro had no reason to exist. The workers were forced to leave, and by the 1950s, the town was almost completely abandoned. Today, only a few dozen people remain, living among crumbling buildings and rusting mining equipment. But the town might not be as empty as it seems. Visitors to Cerro de San Pedro report hearing explosions echoing through the hills, even though no mining has taken place for decades. Some say these are the ghosts of the mines themselves, reliving the moment of destruction over and over. Visitors and tourists also report seeing shadowy figures carrying lanterns, wandering near the collapsed tunnels. But when they get closer, the figures vanish. One of the eeriest stories comes from locals who claim that if you stand near the old mine entrance at night, you can hear the distinct sound of picks striking rocks, as if the miners are still working deep underground. Was it corporate greed or something more sinister that doomed Cerro de San Pedro? Whatever the case, the town and its lost workers may never rest in peace. So, which one of the stories creeped you out the most? The volcano? The lake town? The miners who never left? The company that blew up a mine and killed a town? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, if you want more stories like these, subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and join us here next time on the Mysteries of Latin America. Until next time, I'm Andrew. Adios.